Imagine, hidden within the depths of our history, there lies a narrative so dramatic and destructive that it still raises questions even thousands of years later. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is not just a fascinating puzzle passed down through religious texts, but also a subject of intense scientific investigation. In this episode of Myth Researchers, we peel back the layers of a story that oscillates between myth and reality, divine wrath, and human hubris. First, we delve into the ancient writings that recount the destruction of these cities. Both the Quran and the Bible detail the lives of the people in Sodom and Gomorrah, their sins, and the ensuing divine wrath that was meant to serve as a warning to future generations. But what if there's more to these stories than just metaphorical lessons? What if archaeological finds and scientific theories could shed light on the darkness of these ancient narratives? Our quest for understanding takes us to the ruins of Tal el-Hammam, where researchers have found evidence that might confirm the existence of cities resembling the descriptions of Sodom and Gomorrah. Melted clay bricks, charred bone fragments, and mysterious green glass attest to catastrophic destruction by extremely high heat, possibly the result of a cosmic event. These discoveries raise the question, could the legend of Sodom and Gomorrah be based on true events? Could science and religion provide joint answers to some of the greatest mysteries of our past? Join myth researchers on this captivating journey that bridges the gap between faith and empirical science to uncover the truth behind one of the most well-known and yet enigmatic stories in human history. We invite you to unravel the mysteries surrounding Sodom and Gomorrah with us and discover what really lies behind this story that has fascinated humanity for millennia. The ancient writings speak of a time when divine justice touched the earth in a way that resonates to this day. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah begins with a heavenly conversation that seals the fate of these cities. When angels in human form visit Abraham, they reveal not only the joyful news of his son's imminent birth, but also the impending doom of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham, known for his hospitality and deep faith, welcomes the heavenly messengers with open arms and learns of their grim mission. Despite his concern for the righteous among the city's inhabitants, Abraham trusts in divine wisdom and justice. This encounter sets the tone for a story unparalleled in its intensity and teaching. When the angels finally reach Lot, who lives in Sodom, the full extent of the city's sinfulness is revealed. The men of Sodom, driven by uncontrollable desires, demand the handover of the God-sent visitors. In his despair, Lot offers his daughters to protect the guests, an act that highlights the profound moral perversion of the cities. Yet, the angels intervene, protect Lot and his family, and blind the attackers, a direct act of divine intervention. The sins of Sodom and Gomorrah were diverse and deeply rooted. It was not just the inclination of men towards men and women towards women that invoked God's wrath, but a comprehensive moral decay. Violence, rape, and a general disregard for the divine order characterized daily life. These cities had strayed so far from divine laws that their mere existence challenged heavenly authority. As the punishment descends upon Sodom and Gomorrah, it becomes clear that this is not a capricious act of destruction, but a necessary cleansing of the world from unspeakable sin. Lot, his daughters, and some of his followers, except for his wife, who looks back in affection for her sinful life and thus also falls to destruction, are saved. Their salvation serves as a sign of divine mercy, offering protection to the righteous even in times of judgment. The obliteration of Sodom and Gomorrah stands as a stark warning of the consequences of a life completely turned away from divine guidance. It teaches us the importance of obedience, compassion, and humility before the laws that govern the universe. In these ancient narratives, we find not just a story of doom, but also an eternal reminder of the necessity to preserve our moral and ethical values. After framing the profound story of Sodom and Gomorrah with heavenly messages and subsequent events, our quest for understanding and evidence leads us to the present, to archaeological discoveries and scientific theories that could illuminate the darkness of this ancient tale. The archaeological excavations at Tal el-Hammam have fascinated the scientific community and history enthusiasts alike. The findings at this site could indeed be the physical remnants of Sodom and Gomorrah, cities whose downfall is recorded in the Holy Scriptures. Melted structures and scorched layers of earth testify to a destruction that, in its intensity and speed, is hardly comparable to normal human conflicts or natural disasters of that time. But what could have caused such devastation? One of the most fascinating scientific theories suggests that a cosmic event, perhaps the impact of an asteroid or the explosion of a comet detonating near the Earth's atmosphere, might be behind the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. This hypothesis is supported by the discovery of minerals that only form under extreme heat conditions, similar to those observed in nuclear explosions or cosmic impacts. Such a catastrophe could have been the divine punishment described in the narratives, a physical expression of divine wrath mediated by the laws of nature that govern the universe. Some researchers have even drawn speculative connections to the sulfur and fire rain mentioned in the narratives, pointing to the chemical composition of rocks found at the excavations. These rocks could have originated from a celestial body whose bursting above the cities caused a deadly shower of burning material. The implications of these discoveries and theories are far-reaching. They bridge the physical reality with spiritual teaching and offer a connection between faith and science. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah teaches us about the fragility of human civilizations and the necessity to maintain moral and ethical principles. In an era where human misconduct and ignorance of divine and natural laws continue to pose global challenges, the legend of these ancient cities reminds us that the consequences of our actions can extend far beyond our immediate surroundings. The narrative of Sodom and Gomorrah thus stands not only as a historical or religious lesson, but as a timeless warning about how human behavior, straying from moral and divine laws, can lead to destruction. A destruction possibly brought about by the hand of God, mediated through the instruments of nature. In our time, where science and faith are often seen as opposing poles, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah reveals how both disciplines can work together to expand our understanding of the past. Through the archaeological discoveries and scientific theories we have considered, we see that religious narratives and scientific findings do not necessarily have to conflict. Instead, they can help us better understand and appreciate the stories that have shaped our civilization for millennia. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah is just one example among many in the history of religions, reporting the eradication of certain civilizations and cultures. These stories often tell of divine punishment following the ignoring or rejection of a message from God. Take, for example, Atlantis, a civilization whose downfall is often interpreted as a warning against human hubris and moral decay. Or consider the flood, which Noah and his family survived while a whole world perished, another powerful symbol of divine justice and renewal. Similarly, the story of Babylon and the Tower of Babel, which aimed to reach the heavens, but instead led to the fragmentation of humanity into different languages and cultures. And the narrative of Moses, who led his people out of bondage in Egypt, while Pharaoh and his forces perished in the waters of the Red Sea, shows how divine intervention can change the courses of entire peoples. In all these stories, whether mythical or historical, religious or archaeologically substantiated, we recognize a recurring pattern. The consequences of human actions and the possibility of divine intervention. As myth researchers, it is our task to examine these stories, unravel their meanings, and understand what they can teach us about our own time. Building the bridge between belief and facts means expanding our knowledge of the past and recognizing that humanity has been grappling with the same fundamental questions since the dawn of time. It is our hope that by exploring these ancient myths and truths, we gain a deeper understanding of our